This is the Bullpup Unlimited 870 Remington kit, and we are going to start from the beginning and do an assembly video. When you open the box, you will see that you have a set of instructions, a set of screws and Allen wrenches, and also a set of polymer parts. The stock is zip tied in. All you do is cut your zip ties, lift your stock out, take out your bag of screws, bag of parts, your instructions. Now that the kit's out of the box, you have your forearm. Remove your end cap. Remove your front cap, and you have an upper and a lower. Your adapter block is in the rear of the stock kit. The largest screw is for the adapter block, which is a 1x28. Quarter 28 screw in the package. Hand tighten. Then use the provided large Allen wrench to snug it down. Don't over tighten it. All you're going to do is crush the polymer. The next thing to put on will be the rail tube. Make sure the two little fingers line up inside your action bars. Take your nut, screw back on. Just a good tight, hand tight. The next thing that'll go on is your barrel. The shotgun we're using is a brand new Remington 870 Tactical Express. Next thing to do is put in your slide release ball, flat side up. Flat side should go next to the gun. Lay your stock on the side. Hold your trigger rod out. Put it inside the trigger housing. Place the entire unit in the gun. Look in the rear. Make sure your inserts line up with the holes. Using one of the pan head screws, start it with your fingers to make sure you're not cross threading. And using the small Allen wrench, okay, once tight, the screw needs to be sub-flush with the surface, so that none of it is sticking above the surface, but it doesn't need to be over tightened. Next, take your front forearm brace.
Okay.
Hold it in with your finger. Make sure it lines up with your insert. It has a pocket to make sure they line up. Okay, just make sure it's a good snug tight. At the same time, you can line up your holes with your tube. The back two screws for the forearm are button head screws. Hand start it to make sure they don't cross thread. Remember to tighten down snug, not over tighten. And at this time, you're going to put your rear end cap on. And you're going to do a function test. Everything's functioning correctly. At this time, you remove the rear cap. This also puts the shotgun back into safe mode. Now we'll take the upper and install the two side rails, lining the inserts up 6/32 by half. Start them with your finger. Make sure not to over tighten. If you over tighten, all you do is crush the polymer. Now that's all the screws should show through. You should barely feel the screw coming through the back side. Install the other side the exact same way. Finger start your screws. Snug tight. That's as far, if those screws come out any further than that, you've crushed the polymer, you've over tightened them. Because these are on there solid as a rock. You ain't gonna move them. Next thing to install is the upper shroud. Make sure the tumbling groove lines up and screw all four of these in. Do not tighten. Screw them in. Make sure everything lines up. Look in the rear, make sure that your insert is lined up. Install one of the other panhead screws. You can start this with your hand. Upper screw, not overly tight. Do not completely tighten right now. Leave it a little loose. Now that we've got it to this point, you can go ahead and put your other forearm screw in. Start it by hand. Good flush fit. The next thing will be your end cap. You're putting the end cap on. Make sure everything lines up. Make sure your lip is catching the upper and the lower. Make sure your inserts line up. Start these with your finger. Make sure it's on good. Now we're going to go ahead and install the lower panhead screw. Should go down just like the rest of them, below flush, snug them. Double check your four screws, your four center screws. Just make sure they're still good and tight. At this point, put your end cap back on. Both detents should be out flush. This should be flush all the way around. And you are complete.